Yo, yo, yo. What's good? What's good? It's Stormybman, and I am back. Welcoming you to the Friday Night Chop Session with Stormybman for this Friday, July 26th, 2024. This is number 152 in the series of Chop Sessions. And we're calling this one Joyce Chisora, the O2 Arena. This is a fight weekend once again, and there is a heavyweight matchup coming out of GB, Great Britain, the UK, and it will feature two heavyweights from the UK, veterans who have seen possibly better days, but are seeking better opportunity. Yeah! And so they made the title this evening. But there is also another fight on the schedule for this weekend as we see the return of the GOAT. Yeah, Claressa Shields is returning to the ring this weekend and going for her fourth world title. She has been a undisputed champion in two weight divisions, and she's going for her fourth world title in her fourth division. Truly a person who has stamped her legacy on the sport and is totally living up to her moniker, the GOAT. Yeah, so we're going to talk about some boxing this evening. And, as I said, Joyce and Chisora, where we're seeing these two men. The last time we saw the two of them doing anything in the sport, we had a chance to witness them not necessarily at their best. But I'll tell you, as we look forward in the sport of boxing, things can always turn around. Both men have had a chance to win their last fights, where Joe Joyce, back in March of this year, had a late round KO over Cash Ali, a fighter that he was thought to do away with, but many were surprised that the fight went as long as it did. Some people even suggested that the referee may have helped him out. And Derek Chisora, in August of last year, had a unanimous decision victory over Gerald Washington. Washington was once thought to be a guy who could be headed toward heavyweight contention, but he has met a series of setbacks with losses in fights that maybe he may not or should not have won or lost. But at the same time, in the heavyweight division, all it takes is one punch. So a couple of victories could put him back into consideration, just like other fighters that we have seen, such as Chisora. I had gone to the lengths of referring to Chisora, who in the UK is known affectionately as Del Boy, but I call him L Boy for losses, because he's got two victories out of his last 6 fights. And it's looking more like it could be close to the end of the line for him. But if he has a victory over Joe Joyce, he leapfrogs his name back into consideration for something coming possibly next year. The two men are only a couple of years apart, with Chisora being the senior at 40. And he's only 6'1 and a half, believe it or not. And Joyce happens to be 6'6". So as we get ready to have this show this evening, we'll get into that a little bit. But I'm just announcing that this is what's on the horizon. And then, of course, coming the following weekend, August 3rd, we're going to see the return to the ring of Terrence Bud Crawford as he goes for a title in a 4th division as well. And he is taking on Israel Madrimov, a 154-pound champion in the super welterweight division, whom many are saying is a comer. And that may be one of the stiffest challenges of Crawford's career. As we venture forward, there'll also be, on the 10th of August, the return to the ring of Virgil Ortiz Jr. as he takes on Sergey Bohacek. Now, Bohacek is a guy whom, at the super welterweight division, is a WBC interim champion. And you guys need to pay attention to this fight in particular, because it's going to define where both men are in their careers. This is not necessarily a cakewalk for Mr. Ortiz. It could very well possibly be a coming out party for Mr. Bohacek. But listen, we got boxing, you guys. We got boxing, and more boxing. And I love it, because as we look to these fights and we look to the challenges that the sport has to offer, we're going to see quite a bit of stuff that we want, that we crave, and we're probably going to see some things that we don't want to see. Especially if someone you like is in one of these matches, huh? But yeah, it is what it is. It's boxing. And we can talk about a little bit of all of it, you know what I'm saying? Let me take a moment and see who we got in the building this evening. You guys are coming in. You know, I know it's Friday night, so some of y'all, you know, you're kind of doing some naughty things out there because it's Friday. But keep your nose and your rear end clean, because I'm going to tell you something. I ain't got no bail money for none of y'all, huh? So if you do the crime, you're going to do the time when it comes down to Stormy B, man. Yeah! So we got Steph Brown in the building saying, be well, Stormy B, man. Here we are on a Friday. Appreciate you as always. Salute to our chat family here tonight. Y'all go ahead and smash the like button. Appreciate you, Steph Brown. Appreciate you, bro. Drew Titan, my brother LLC, is out there saying, yo. Universal Truth is back with us saying, salute, Sensei, with some channel emojis. Jay is out there saying, Stormy B-Man, salute in the chat and smash the like button. Mr. Shelton is back with us saying, peace. What's good with you? KP from KC is out there saying, salute. And Jay says, I got Chisora. Shawalaya is out there saying, salute Stormy in chat with those channel emojis. Appreciate you, Shower. Steph Brown says, the Lady Shields. She's something else too. Great student of the game. I watched her match up against Savannah. Boat had to dig deep, compete, and have resolve. She did. Came out on top. Supreme. No, Steph, you ain't fooling me, bruh. I know what you saw. You saw that weigh-in today, and a lot of us saw that weigh-in today. And some of us couldn't see because the room got dark. Yeah! And that's all I'm going to say about that. But you know, what you know when you know what you know. Yeah. He says, yes, excited for Terrence too. Gonna be a great night of boxing. Few fights on there I definitely want to see. Jay says, I don't know how Madrimov makes weight, huh? Yeah, all of them cheat, bro, when it comes down to making weight. None of these guys are fighting where they should be fighting. And that's why you have some of the lopsidedness in the sport of boxing when it comes down to the weight divisions. Because before we had all these junior divisions, let me tell you, it was 8 weight classes. So if you were 146 pounds and you had to fight, you know, for the welterweight title, sometimes when a guy was 140, he had to face you. You know what I'm saying? But now you got the junior weight divisions and other things that they've added into here to make it a whole mishmash of disadvantages. And some of these men have been taught how to master the hydrating, rehydrating, the what do they call it? The cutting of the weight and all of that. That has become a science out here. I marveled a few months back when Tyson Fury fought Alexander Usyk, and he went into the fight on the scales. He said it said 262 or 263 or something like that. But I'd be doggone if he didn't look like the Pillsbury Doughboy on fight night just 24 hours later. I was like, where did that spare tire, rim, and gel come from, huh? Because his little skirt that he wore in there on fight night, it was so tight, huh? It was bulging over. I was like, what is going on here, huh? He looked like a busted can of biscuits out there. And I'm like, he didn't look like that on the scale. On the scale, he had abs. What the hell is going on? What type of sci-fi stuff is going on with these weights, man? I don't know. Maybe you guys can figure it out, huh? Steph says, definitely discipline, courage, doing the things the right way. Oh, and sacrifice. Welcome in to hit the like button. Okay, you guys got a personal conversation going. Jay says, somebody called Clarissa a red velvet cake. I don't know about the red and the velvet, but she definitely today displayed some cake, huh? Yeah! But see, when you're naughty, huh? And Stormy is a dirty old man, but even me, I felt like I needed a shower after that weigh-in, huh? Yeah! So, Steph Brown is laughing. He says, spare tire. Yeah. Yeah, Steph Brown, you notice how all them men were up there on the stage when Clarissa weighs in? It's like the stage gonna collapse. There's so many people up there surrounding her. I'm like, man, y'all know it ain't much room up there, especially when she turned left or right. So what are you doing? Stand back, everybody. We need the fire department to come and put some of them damn yellow tapes up around saying caution, huh? Because everybody is trying to get on the stage when Clarissa gets on the scale. What is that all about, man? I've been watching this for a while. Yeah. Man, I'm telling you, boy. It's crazy. It's crazy. Oh, my goodness, man. But see, y'all, listen. What can we say, huh? It is what it is. It is what it is. Shower says, asthma test. No, Shower. When they gather around for her, when she gets on the scale and gets off the scale, they become asthmatized with their eyes. Yeah! Uh-huh. That's exactly what happens. My brother Scrapbook Boxing is in the building. Salute to you, Scrap. He says, peace to my brother Stormy. I appreciate the members supporting my brother's content. Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you. Thank all of you. Oh, man. Crazy. Scrap, did you see Clarissa's weigh in today? I know you saw it, Scrap. You can put a thumbs up in the chat if that's all you want to say. Woo, boy. We will never be short of content out here on the YouTube airwaves. Huh? Never. Look at Scrap. He says, absolutely. A man of few words, but plenty of 2020 vision. You dig? Yeah. I know that's right, man. Well, I tell you, man, it's so great being able to have stuff to laugh at, man. It's great to have stuff to laugh at. I tell you, man. Boxing is something else. Yeah, buddy. Oh, man. I don't know where to start. We're going to get off of that for a moment, though. Because, you know, some people might need a Kleenex. Man. Listen, I'll be here all week. All jokes aside. Oh, man. But hey, listen, let's talk about a little news in the sport of boxing before we get into those fights, man. It has come to the boxing world's attention, that Canelo Alvarez, has announced that he's going to fight someone. Of course, it's not David Benavidez, We wanted David Benavidez like you wanted that last piece of Popeye's chicken and you had to fight your cousin over it or something when y'all was sitting in the backyard picnic, But he decided Benavidez isn't what y'all really want. Canelo has decided that Edgar Berlanga, Count Berlanga, as Drew Titan refers to him for his fierce bite. Yeah, he decided that he wants a piece of Berlanga. Is this guy the biggest duck that you've ever seen, The ugly duckling is, as I will refer to him, And unfortunately, we never got a chance to see him rematch Bitter Beef. I mean, not Bitter Beef, Bivol. I got Bitter Beef on the brain. You know, Dimitri Bivol, the guy who handed Canelo, his ass, his shoes, his trunks. He handed everything to him but the kitchen sink. As you can see in this little clip, Dimitri Bivol showed Cinnamon exactly what it's like to be sprinkled. Yeah, that's what happened to him when he was up there against Dimitri Bivol, and he couldn't get out of the way, because Bivol knew how to put them punches together, like Stormy likes to say, running the numbers, So when they had a contracted rematch, Canelo forgot all about what rematch means, He decided that he would go and become a grave digger and dig up Triple G for a third fight instead of fighting Bivol again. And ever since then, I think when he dug up Triple G, he dropped his balls down where Triple G was dug up from, and never to be seen again, because Canelo don't want to fight nobody good, I'm not saying Berlanga's not good. I'm just saying that Berlanga hasn't done anything to really earn this particular fight. There are fighters that he could face to prove to us that he's on a class level, But salute to him for getting the opportunity, because every once in a while there is the legend of Buster Douglas, And maybe Count Berlangula, if he could get in there and take a bite out of Cinnamon, maybe the other thing that won't be red besides his hair will be his ass, because he could have bitten off more than he chewed against this young man, But it's not what we want. We want David Benavidez. That's what we really want. Am I right? But Canelo, hey, this is a beautiful clip, ain't it? Sometimes I just like to let that clip go and run through the rest of the show, because you're seeing Canelo. That's the true Canelo right there, y'all. That's the true Canelo against somebody that's really trying to whoop his ass. You see, that ain't one of them guys that's just happy to be there, a.k.a. Mel Charlo, looking for a place to drop his bank bag, Yeah, no, Dimitri Bivol was getting ready to he threw several shots there, but if I let the clip run a little bit longer, you would have seen his feet in Canelo's ass too. Yeah, that's what it was. Shaw was laughing. Drew is laughing. Drew says Canelo versus Berlanga. Blade versus Deacon Frost. Steph Brown says, career has winded down. It has. No words ever since he signed with the DAZN the first time. Fighting non-black guys who can't compete with him. You can't make this stuff up, but this stuff exists. Leave it to Steph Brown to cuss Canelo out as only a man of God who uses no expletives does. And I second that. I stand by that man. Yeah, man. Ain't you tired of this? Canelo he's scraping the bottom of opportunities for the guys. Did you see how he played? And he's done this several times now. Do you see how he throws all these different names out there, and then he goes and digs way back in the back, and reaches down in the barrel, and pulls out somebody that you ain't never even thought. Now, salute to the brother Counter Loco Sports. He been telling us for a while now, going back a year or so, that Count Berlanga was gonna get the fight. So, Kano, he got a lifeline. He know what's going on. So we just have to wait till it play out. But everybody was like, no, he should fight this guy. He should fight that guy. He should fight David Benavidez, which we know he ain't gonna do. But he went back there and got Berlanga out there. So it's like, and Kano was right. So salute to him for knowing, he's got the grapevine, heard it through the grapevine, that kind of thing. Kano knows what's going on. But I'm going to tell you something. Like I said, every once in a while, Buster Douglas, exists in boxing, So, and it would be no more fitting than for Carrot Top here to get his comeuppance finally, and from one of the young guns out there, Let it happen. Rain on his red-headed parade, Because we're just sick of this foolishness. Come on. Salute to Eric Jordan out there, man. It says he's become a member. I don't know if you've become a member or if that's a milestone, but salute to you all the same, Eric Jordan. Salute to you, bro. But yeah, listen. It's time for something to happen with Canelo, It's time. I'm just sick of it, man. All the guys who deserve a shot being passed over, As if they're not even standing in the line. They just looking around the corner and everything. Forget this dude, bro. Forget him. Come on, Berlanga. Get busy. That's all I got to say about that. Get busy. And they put it down for, what's the date on that? September 14th. So we'll see, We'll see. Salute to Eric Jordan also with that super sticker, man. $5 holla. Appreciate that as well. Appreciate that, man. I mean, come on. This is ridiculous. That man played with all those different names. He had absolutely no intention of coming out there and, taking on who the people really wanted to see him face. Let me see something here. Oh, I got a couple of names on here I should have taken off. Let me take this off of here real quick. Oh, snap. I shouldn't have taken that off. That was supposed to be something I'm going to talk about. Okay, let me bring it back. Doing some quick editing here, people. Yeah. Stormy likes to do his quick editing here while we're on live. Yeah, goodness gracious. Yeah, if you guys tune in to the Canelo fight against Berlanga, you have to root for Berlanga. Just let it be, let it be known that Berlanga is your preferred fighter, Because Canelo, he deserves to be out of there, man. He really does. Okay, Eric, I got you. You will re-up in the membership. I got you on that. What's this other fight that I wanted to put on there? Oh, yeah. Ortiz. Let's see here. Okie doke. There. I like being able to do this on the fly. This is pretty cool. There's one more I need to put up here. Mr. Crawford. Crawford. Speaking of Crawford, how'd you guys like that interview that All the Smoke did, Andre Ward with Terrence, talking about his plans, his future, what he went through with the negotiations with Spence for their fight. Very good interview there. Seems like Crawford was very comfortable sitting down talking to Andre Ward. We even got a little hedge at something that might take place with Andre Ward, huh? Maybe Andre Ward might be tempted to come back. Maybe. I didn't ask for y'all support though. We ain't gonna never forget that, Andre. Especially Stormy, huh? Saying stuff like that, bro. You know, I like to hold the feet to the fire, huh? Especially when you think you the only one that got matches, huh? Yeah. Damn it, I had that there already. Okay. My daddy white. We remember all of that. We remember it all. Let me put my glasses on a minute. I see some more people have come into the building. We got the brother B-Mac out there says, salute Stormy B-Man. I really want to talk to you when you have a call-in show. Okay, I got that message when you wrote it in there on that comment for that video there, B-Mac. But, you know, be patient, huh? Listen. You can always send me an email, bro. In the eye of the storm 4@gmail.com. Shower says, yeah, Cinnamon needs to hit the green. That's right. Steph Brown says, yeah, Shower, I'm looking at his box rep right now. It's all over the place. If you put things into content, who, what, when, etc., his last stiff competition was probably Lara. Yep. And there is word also, this is part of the news that I wanted to speak on regarding Canelo, huh? Cinnamon. He is to be stripped of his IBF title, according to an article in Boxing News 24. And it goes as this. It says, unified super middleweight champion Canelo Alvarez will reportedly be stripped of his IBF 168-pound title ahead of his next defense against Count Berlangula on September 14th at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. ESPN reports that Canelo, who's 62, 22-2 with 39 KOs, will lose his IBF title due to his decision not to defend against his long overdue mandatory challenger, William Skull, a little-known fighter that the sanctioning body elevated to the #1 spot recently. What about long overdue David Benavidez, the WBC? What about the interim WBC guy, Christian and Billy? What about the WBA guy and David Morrell? Huh? That's 3 ass whoopings right there that he's been trying to avoid. And they want to mention William Skull. Who has heard of William Skull? Not I. Not I. Huh? William Skull might as well be the screaming skull, the dead skull, because don't nobody give a darn about William, huh? But we do care about Benavidez, a 2-time champion at 168, who lost his title on the scale, not in the ring, and deserved a shot right back at his title. And it's been 3 years now. 3. Jose Suleiman and the WBC should be excavated from the sport of boxing for their corruption. They do not care to strip Canelo of any of his titles that he's won for them. The WBA is every bit as dirty. Based out of where are they? Venezuela, somewhere like that, whatever, whomever, but we've already seen the dirt that they do and the racial bias that they've shown. That's not alleged. That's actual and factual. Skull, who is 22-0 with 9 KOs, has no notable wins. Let me say that one more time. He has no notable wins on his resume. And it's unclear why he has been moved to mandatory for Canelo. Because they were trying to give him somebody easy. But apparently the Canelo camp must have thought about Buster Douglas. Yeah. But it's not surprising that he's been ignored. Canelo Skull would be a pay-per-view disaster if that fight happened. Why did they move him to a #1 status then? Did you mean to tell me that some money may have changed hands allegedly? Huh? Maybe those manila envelopes, huh? When the guy reaches inside his sport jacket and he slides that envelope under the table to the fat fuck fingers of the IBF president? Is that what happened? Shit stains all on his fingernails? Yeah! Allegedly. Skull is out there thinking he's really doing something. But those envelopes, you guys. Did you listen to Terrence Crawford's interview with Andre Ward? He said it. These guys all know each other. These promoters and sanctioning body people, they're all in bed with each other. That's why they all got STDs. Huh? Yeah. Allegedly. Yeah. Skull's best career win came against a fighter named Sean Hemphill. Few fans have heard of him, and you can see why Canelo showed no interest in defending against Skull. Mike Coppinger reports that the IBF belt will be fought over by Skull and the #2 contender, Vladimir Shinskin. This is crazy. This is crazy. Vladimir Shinskin, why didn't Canelo fight him? He was number 2. The article goes on. Canelo has not expressed interest in that fight, but he may change his tune if Crawford has an impressive performance on August 3rd against Madrimov, said commentator Chris Mannix on his podcast, talking about the possibility of Canelo potentially facing Terence Crawford in 2025. It's obvious that Crawford, who's 40-0 with 31 KOs, not only must win against WBA junior middleweight champion Israel Madrimov, who's 10-0 with 1 draw and 7 KOs in Turkey Al-Sheikh's Riyadh season event on August 3rd, but he's got to look impressive. It won't work if Crawford wins a boring fight and plays it safe, jabbing, clinching, or wrestling, as we saw in some of his fights in the past. Get the hell out of here. Who wrote this article? Where was Crawford jabbing, clinching, and wrestling? Where? Crawford is on a knockout streak, 12 in a row, stoppages and knockouts. You see the bias. You see the prejudice. You see the bigotry. Where has Canelo been sensational? His victory over, what's his name? He just fought? Jaime Munguia? Yeah, he knocked Jaime Munguia down, but that was no scintillating win for Canelo. You see how they do this stuff? They're tearing Crawford down before he even has his fight because they're trying to make it look like a narrative that if the fight doesn't go a certain kind of way, he doesn't deserve his fight against Canelo. But they say there's no racism. They say that there's no bias. They say that there's no corruption, but I see plenty of bigotry. I see it all over the place. These people, if you had an infrared light, they'd glow like one of those construction neon shirts in the dark. Listen to this foolishness, people. If Crawford can look good against Madrimov, that can make the fight look a bit more legitimate, at least in Canelo's eyes, said Mike Coppinger. I do believe they're looking at February for Canelo Crawford. Canelo is like anyone else. I think he's sensitive to criticism. You freaking think? You dumbass? This is why I don't read Coppinger. The guy walks around with a schlong in his mouth, at all times. It's just varied whom it may be at the moment that you see him, allegedly. If Canelo fought Crawford on August 3rd, it'll be the best fighter he's fought since Floyd Mayweather. The best fighter he has fought since Floyd Mayweather. But they talk about Bud Crawford as if he's a non-factor. I'm going to tell you what it is, people. He's good. He's technical. He's athletic. He has a skill set. He has ring IQ. He's a black fighter. Now, not only is he a black fighter, he's a dark black fighter. I said it. It's a fact. And they despise it at every waking turn in the sport of boxing. If Crawford were a few shades lighter complexion, they'd give more merit to him. But there's something about the fear of the black man that won't allow them to give credit, provision, understanding, cooperation, acceptance. What more does this man have to do? He's knocking people out. He's taking titles from champions. Champions who were stated, touted to be someone until he defeats them. Then it was like they were really no one. He hasn't really beaten anybody, but he's been beating everybody. Crawford is not looking for third-rate opponents to dine on, to continue to pad his record. He's seeking out challenges of the best. His people have deemed Israel Madrimov the toughest fighter at 154 with a title. He's tougher than Sebastian Fundora. He's tougher than that other fighter that has that other title. You didn't hear Erickson Lubin calling out this guy. You didn't hear Tim Tszyu calling out this guy. B-Mac, I understand what your comment reads there, but what I said stands far and wide above what you wrote there. Far and wide. Because you have no idea on site what on site means. There are places that you can go, and if you appear to be received in a certain light, doors shut quickly. See Deontay Wilder. Look at Anthony Joshua. Look at Joseph Parker. Now look at Derek Chisora and Dillian White. You have no clue, son. And if you did, that would not be a statement to make. And I'm not coming at you. I'm correcting, because I want you to understand the significance of what I'm saying here. I'm not playing, and you haven't heard me smile in a while. because this is serious business. It is the business. It is one of the reasons why we don't get by and beyond. You think it's a coincidence that Tank Davis receives all of this love, but Devin doesn't? You think that's a coincidence? The nickname, the Sensei, is appropriately tagged. Shower says, yes, the darker, the more bullshit is a fact. As a dark woman, I can attest to it. She says also Devin's features may as well be his dark skin. They talk about them all the time. Devin has a wide nose and thick lips and what we have been described as throughout history, Negroid features. And he's not as dark as Terrence, but he has more prominent features. But hey, he doesn't call himself an ape though. And neither does Terrence. So while you're loving on Tank, understand what he calls himself, even though his features be brighter. Now, who is truly in darkness? B-Mac. This article states if Crawford boxes Madrimov for 12 rounds in a dull fight, he will look silly calling out Canelo afterward. He's got to take some chances in this fight by slugging with Madrimov and showing some bravery. Are you fucking kidding me? Somebody go to Boxing News 24. See this article. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to post this link for this article in my description box because you guys need to read this shit for yourselves and keep it in your file. The person who wrote this, Shower, Chris Williams, earlier today. He just called Crawford a coward with those words. And there's no greater coward in the sport right now that's been defined than Canelo Alvarez, whom he's speaking against Crawford. He says that Crawford needs to take chances by slugging with Madrimov. That's not going to give any gain of authority of Crawford's consideration for Canelo. What you're hoping for is that he does that and that Madrimov can get lucky and knock him out, so Canelo won't have to fight him. What Canelo needs to do is not fight Edgar Berlanga. He needs to get his ass in there against David Benavidez and slug it out for the WBC title that was stolen away from Benavidez 3 years ago, allowing him to become an undisputed champion at 168, because as long as David Benavidez had the title, he was not thinking about undisputed. He wasn't thinking about unifying for undisputed. He wasn't even looking David Benavidez's way. Where was the articles saying that? Crawford has to entertain because fans don't want to see a pot-shot Mayweather-esque retro by an aging fighter. He's nearing 40 and has never been known for having a fan-friendly style. That's why Crawford took so long to gain a following. Oh my goodness. Are you guys hearing this bullshit? I did not read this article before coming on the air. If I did, I might not have read it to you. But I'll tell you something. It is good that you're hearing this because you can see the bias. You can see the prejudice. You can see the bigotry through this man's pen. Crawford is on a string of 12 straight knockouts and stoppages. How is that fucking boring? His latest victory was his greatest victory. He took on the top dog, Errol Spence, and won and became undisputed at the same time. But this man says that he's boring. And because he's nearing 40, it has taken him this long to gain a following. When you just heard Crawford say in his interview with Andre Ward that they didn't want him to progress. They were holding him back, which is why he sued Bob Arum for what? Racial discrimination. Bob Arum said the reason that he didn't make the Manny Pacquiao fight for Bud Crawford because he knew what would happen. He said that. In other words, I don't want him to beat Manny. Manny is a friend, he said. Where was Chris Williams then? Where was his pen? Where was his understanding? The first time I saw Terrence Crawford was on HBO when he was winning his first world title. He was on the undercard of about, I forget what bout it is. It's been a long time. But when I watched him fight Jimmy Burns, I said, who the hell is this little guy? He's pretty damn good. He reminds me of a couple of different fighters. I was like, maybe could you say Tommy Hearns and Hagler meshed into one? It's like I saw this. Back then, I saw it. He won the title that night, but he wasn't the champion. And I recognized it on a dime, what I was witnessing. Who the fuck is this guy writing this article? He doesn't know a good fighter if he bit him in the ass. Crawford does not need to knock out Madrimov to state his claim for anything. All he needs to do is defeat Madrimov, because they have already put Madrimov on a pedestal. They have talked about how good and young a fighter he is, and he punches well. And I've often talked about just having a punch don't mean a damn thing. Crawford is all around a 5-dimensional fighter. Madrimov might be a 2 or 3-dimensional fighter. A big fucking difference if you know boxing. That's right, Shower. He's racist as hell. Biased as hell. Prejudiced than a motherfucker. This is what the guy said, you guys. Listen to this, and then I'm done with this article because it has raised my blood sugar. He says, I doubt that Crawford would look spectacular against Madrimov because he has a lot going against him in this fight. These are the problems Crawford has. 1, he turns 37 in September. 2, inactivity, 13 months. 3, moving up in weight, new weight class. 4, fighting for the wrong reasons, money. 5, distracted by his desire to fight Canelo. 6, facing a huge puncher. 7, weak resume. I would like to start a petition to go at this guy, Chris Williams, on the behalf of Terrence Bud Crawford supporters, on the behalf of black fighters in boxing supporters, that this guy be dealt with, that he be had a conversation, a sit down by the editors of Boxing News 24, because what he says has no justification whatsoever. As far as Crawford turning, let me run it back through the eyes of Stormybman, those 7 points. Age, he turns 37 in September. Crawford turns 37, but he hasn't taken the punishment that a lot of fighters take. He doesn't burn the candle at both ends like a lot of fighters do. He doesn't drink. He doesn't smoke. He spends time with his boys. He's raising his family when he's not fighting, and he stays in the gym and stays in shape like a guy who's a contender, and he trains like it as well. 2, the inactivity. Though he has not had a fight in 13 months, it's not because he doesn't want to. It's because these promoters and the networks have been playing a game of charade with him. They've been hiding fighters. You saw that the Fundora fight, after the victory over Tim Tszyu, all of a sudden here comes Errol Spence trying to get in the way of blocking that fight. 3, moving up in weight, a new weight class. He already said that even going into the Errol Spence fight, he was struggling himself to make 147. So it's a timely thing that he does go up and move up because his body is adjusted for that. 4, fighting for the wrong reasons, money. Money is always a part of the equation, but is it not true that Canelo said that for maybe a conversation about David Benavidez can begin with $200 million? If you don't get all the way the fuck up out of here with that bullshit. 5, distracted by his desire to fight Canelo. He has always maintained that he wanted to fight the best. The challenge is Canelo being touted as the best by you all, not by him. And he's saying that if that guy is who you're measuring as the best, I want to fight him. Because he knows he's not, and because he knows he's better. 6, he's facing a huge puncher. Mike Tyson once said, especially after his fights with Razor Ruddock, I always knew that not always the guy with the hardest punch wins. He was conceding in that moment that Razor punched a lot harder than he, but he just come through 2 fights, 2 victories over Razor Ruddock. 1, a questionable 7th round stoppage. The second fight was a unanimous decision, and when he dropped Razor a couple of times. And he broke Razor's jaw. Seven, a weak resume. Are you freaking kidding me? A weak resume. Steph Brown just said earlier in this chat about looking over Canelo's resume, and you have to go all the way back to Erislandy Lara to really see a good fight from Canelo, because everything else is under question. Even his fights with Triple G, because going into his first fight with Triple G, he freaking popped dirty for steroids. You see, guys, you see why you have to read these articles. You see why you have to check up on the sport. I did not even know that this was such a scathing article about Terence Crawford. The article's headline is, Canelo is to be stripped of the IBF title as he goes into his fight with Edgar Berlanga. But the article turns into a rip piece against Terence Crawford. Do you see the deception there? Do you see how they flip that shit? Canelo should be stripped of all of his titles because he's not fighting any of his #1 contenders. But you want to talk about Terence Bud Crawford and rip him and his career and accomplishments to shreds because you're trying to uplift Canelo, and Canelo ain't doing what the people freaking want him to do, and that's to fight the fighters that they feel have exciting fights lined up for him. Oh my goodness. Wow. Simply wow. Enough of that foolishness, man. Enough of that foolishness. In other boxing news this week, the WBC mandated that there be an immediate rematch between Robeson Canseco and O'Shaquie Foster. This on the heels of the controversial decision that led Canseco to walk away that night with Foster's WBC super featherweight title. The consensus of almost every man and woman that watched this fight was that O'Shaquie won this fight with ease. Some not giving Consequao more than a round. I gave him 3 rounds. It was an extreme display of prejudice against O'Shaquie Foster being a quality, again, athletic boxer with skills, a well-rounded, close to 5-dimensional fighter in O'Shaquie Foster against a guy who got more title shots than Vasyl Lomachenko over the past 2 or 3 years. And he lost all of them, though one of them he should not have lost, and that was the Oscar Valdez fight. Consequao lost to Valdez. But they picked this night to make up his losses against O'Shaquie Foster, who performed like a young Floyd Mayweather, I remarked, when he was Pretty Boy Floyd, known as Pretty Boy Floyd. Biased, bigoted, prejudiced. We've seen these things. So when the fight will take place, I'm not certain. But that was a news headline this week. I did a video on it. It should be simply a turning around of the decision, making it an incorrect decision and awarding this man his title back to him because it was stolen from him by judges, not by Robeson Consequao. And I've always maintained that it's not Consequao's fault. It's those officials who officiated that fight on that night. Consequao performed to the best of his abilities, but he did not defeat O'Shaquie Foster in no way, shape, form, or fashion. Learn what's good with you, bro. He says, I think Crawford wins this easy, Sensei. Listen, he can because he's that good of a fighter. But I do think there'll be a moment or two in the fight which he has to rise above the youthfulness of this kid. And this kid hasn't been checked yet. He hasn't been put in his place yet. And that's okay because young people think they're indestructible. But Crawford has never been thought of as a fighter who has poor understanding of the sweet science. So if he gets back in the ring with Consequao, he'll have to step it up more, which I know that he's more than capable of doing. But they should not have taken his title away from him the first go round. No, Learn, you can't speak for everybody. People are not necessarily enamored with anything when it comes to the sweet science. What they may be enamored with is action. Not necessarily KOs, not necessarily boxing. It's somewhere in between, but it needs to be entertaining. The thing about it is there's not enough of the teachers. I've said this countless times. Teachers of the sport to let people know what they're looking at. You have biased color analysts and ring announcers that they talk about what is from their short-sightedness. If they had more experienced panels or participants, fighters who have fought before, fighters who have fought different types of styles, bring a guy who was a boxer, bring a guy who was a slugger, bring a guy who had been a multiple division champion or undisputed several times over. Those are the kind of things to represent properly. But you got guys like Chris Mannix sitting on their ass. They don't know a damn jab from an uppercut. And they don't. And when I say that with a greater depth than what you just heard. Okay? Because we know a jab goes like this, uppercut goes like that. But that's not what I'm saying when I say that. It's symbolic. But it's easy for them to tear you apart or build you up because they like or dislike you. They are destructive elements to the game. When you have capable people, like when Emmanuel Stewart was sitting next to Jim Lampley and what's his name, Larry Merchant, you had a man who was there, who knew the sport inside and out, from the corner to the center of the ring. And the foolishness that they would spew from time to time, he would subtly correct them because he knew better. And they wouldn't be disrespectful to him like they had been to others like Ray Leonard, Roy Jones, even George Foreman, because somehow, some way, Emmanuel just garnered a great deal more respect. And maybe he had let them know behind the scenes. Who knows? I'm not saying anything really happened, but maybe he said, hey, you know, none of this bullshit from you guys. Maybe he said it, because a lot of times all it takes is for you to stand up for yourself. When they had that melee at Madison Square Garden and there was a riot at the Bo Galata fight, Jim Lampley was hiding behind George Foreman. Where was he hiding when he was talking shit about all these black fighters? He and Larry Merchant on the air. And no producer, no one from the head studios of HBO were talking in their earpiece saying, all right, guys, knock that shit off. Because they had par gras. They could speak how they wanted. And it was disrespectful to the sport and to the participants of the sport and to the viewing audiences, as well as those who may have been related to the people participating or who were supporters of them. Nobody stood up for that aspect of the sport of boxing while these guys sat up and talked the shit that they talked. They never spoke about Oscar De La Hoya's outside of the ring antics that began before his career was over. But you could be sure they were always talking about James Toney. They make their little snide remarks. It's a bunch of foolishness, man. Bunch of foolishness. And I'm not for it. No way, shape, form, or fashion. In other news, in the sport of boxing, Danny Jacobs who retired recently after his fight with Shane Mosley Jr. It was said by his trainer that he feels that Danny will be a Hall of Famer. Whether that means first ballot or he just thinks that Danny's going to get in, who knows? But Jacobs had a decent career, but I don't think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He lost some important fights in his career. Andre Rozier, his coach, feels that Danny should win the opportunity to get into the Hall of Fame. But there are fighters that are better and had more stellar opportunities than Jacobs, who finishes his record with a record of 37-5 with 30 KOs. Personally, I feel like if they're going to induct Jacobs in the Hall of Fame, it won't be right away. I don't say that speaking from a point of being biased. I see it from a point of I've looked at how other fighters got into the Hall of Fame. Do you see James Toney as a more accomplished fighter than Danny Jacobs? Something to think about. There's a seedy side of boxing that just makes it hard to really love the sport intimately. You can love the edges. It's like a dessert. You know how you pick off the dessert, you pick what you like. You You like the little edges of the crust of the cake. You like the sprinkles that's on top, sometimes the icing. But it's hard to digest the whole thing sometimes, because when you take the whole thing in, it makes you sick. Boxing is a lot like that. So let's get back to the sport. Talk about Claressa Shields for tomorrow evening. She's taking on Vanessa Lepage-Joannis, the Canadian-French woman who's the heavyweight champion in the WBC rankings. And Claressa's going for her 4th world title as she challenges this woman. Now, I've seen Vanessa fight a few times. She used to carry a lot more bulk on her frame than she does presently. When she takes on Claressa, she's going to be defending her title, but Claressa is going for her 4th world title. And after facing the likes of Savannah Marshall and Franchon Cruz-Discern and fighters like that, this woman is a lot more crude than those ladies, but she's a bigger woman, a bigger boned, solid woman. So that may be the most difficult aspect in this fight that Claressa has to face regarding her. But if she can get past and beyond the bulk, Claressa, who is the same age as Vanessa, but 2 inches taller at 5'8", she's more athletic, she's more speedy, she has a greater punch output, she's got better training. John David Jackson has done a wonderful job with Claressa Shields. But I would like to see Claressa use her boxing skills in this fight. Don't go in there trying to knock this woman out, because as you get fatigued over the rounds, what will happen is her weight disparity will get to you eventually. Allegedly, this is going to be a unified situation. The WBC, WBF, and WBO titles will be on the line, the WBO being a vacant title. So the stakes are high here. Now, Vanessa, who hails from Canada, is a fighter who is she's definitely a person who keeps a tight defense, and she tries to throw her punches with conviction. Her record is 7-1 with 2 KOs. When she fought Alejandra Jimenez, she lost to Alejandra, and that was back in August of 2017. It was a 3rd round stoppage. And boy, was she big in that fight. When she fought Alejandra Jimenez, she was 236 pounds, you guys. For this Shields fight, she's weighing in at 174. Yeah, Shower. Isn't that the truth? Absolutely. Oh, as I stated about their heights, Clarissa is 5'8" and she's 5'6", Shower. So Clarissa's got a couple of inches on her in height. Michelle Rivera is fighting on the undercard, and Shohyan Ergashev is fighting on there as well. Two super lightweights. They may face each other after this fight if they win their matches. The bout is going to be televised on DAZN tomorrow night, so we'll see. If John David has trained Clarissa the proper way, Clarissa should eat that body up. That should be the game plan. Not trying to hit on her jaw, hit on her chin, all that. She needs to go in there and bang that woman, break her down, then get her on up out of there. But that's what I think about that. But I'll tell you that Joyce versus Chisora, the heavyweights from the UK, gonna be an interesting fight, you guys. Could be a slugfest, 6 rounds or less. Neither guy come in the box. Everybody knows that Chisora will blow out by 3 rounds or less. He doesn't train for extended fights. His press conferences are always interesting, sometimes entertaining. But Joe Joyce has the personality of a mannequin. And I think all he wants to do is just come and fight and go home. But trying to match wits with a guy like Derek Chisora, he's like a fish out of water. Now, a fighter that I want to see that's on that undercard, I would love to see. Brandon Lee is returning, and he's taking on that guy, Juan Anacona. I did a video on them. Brandon was a PBC fighter that fought on Showbox, and he was moving right along until Showtime shut down, and then he was a man without a home. So After almost a year out of the ring, he's coming back now. Allegedly, this is supposed to take place on ESPN Plus. I hope that we could see this fight. ESPN has kind of jacked things up sometimes. But it is what it is. But yeah. But before we go any further, I want to take a break here for one of my sponsors here. I want you guys to pay attention, acknowledge the sponsor, huh?
We offer the best grooming methods for you. It's all natural and handcrafted too. We wanna help be your swagger, your style, class, and luxury. Make our products that are made for you with high quality, yeah. So get in style with the black, yeah. Company, give you swagger, style, class, and luxury, yeah. Black, gentleman, black, yeah. Company, give you swagger, style, class, and luxury, yeah.
Located at www.theblackgent.com.
Yeah, just know that when you enter Stormybman, you get a 10% discount on the products at the Black Gentleman Grooming Company. Yeah. So pay attention when you're going out there, and you can get something good for yourself over there. They have a variety of products. Just go to the website and scan through and see what you might need. There's something in the bag for everybody. Yeah. Eric Jordan is asking, he's like, so if the fighter can last 3 rounds, it's over for that fighter. Well, I'm saying Chisora, who's now 40 years old, he was never built for the distance. That's why he's been stopped late a few times. And even when he fought Alexander Usyk, once Usyk got to a comfort zone and recognized where his power and strength was, Usyk just boxed him. And then in the later rounds, Chisora was really running on fumes, just trying to stay in there with him. So, you know, Joe Joyce comes in at 281 pounds. That's a big man. 6'6", 281 pounds. He's every bit as big as the Chinese power, Zhang. But he just got caught by Zhang. Zhang has those fast hands. Joe is kind of slow and couldn't get out of the way of it. Yeah. No, Shower, you know something? It was good that we got a chance to see and hear that, because I did not read the article before I read it over the air. And as I'm going through it, I'm like, this is a shit piece. But I'm glad we got that, because now I know when I see an article with that guy's name, because I do refer to Boxing Scene and Boxing News 24, World Boxing News, these articles that they have to try to stay up to date and abreast on what's going on. But I did not realize, and of course you couldn't even tell from the title, because his title spoke of the IBF stripping Canelo. But that article quickly turned into a disrespectful piece against Terrence Crawford. Unjustly so. Unjustly so. And when you got people out there that could write like that, you have to question their integrity and what their purpose is. It's people like that why Terrence Crawford don't want to deal with certain individuals and everything, because even though that guy that wrote that article, there are a number of channels out here on the air that do the same thing to these fighters. They'll show favor for one and to hell with the other. Who they like is all right, and who they don't, won't. It's like, you know what? I talk about the sport. I talk about the X's and O's. And then sometimes I'll get into some of the grit, but I don't dwell. But you do have to deal with the reality that exists. And that's just some people, no matter what you do, how you do what you do or whatever, they're not going to support, they're not going to like you. This is why I just keep it moving when I do what I do. This is number 152 episodes that I've done of the Friday Night Chop Session. And along the way, I've made some friends, lost whom I could have considered friends. There are people that were supporting that no longer do. There are people who have come aboard and are supporting. It happens. It's the cycle of life, the alpha and the omega. But you keep going. You keep pressing forward. A rolling stone gathers no moss. Yeah. And that's what Stormybman does over here on this channel. There will be people talking about you. There will be people praising you. There will be people putting you down. There will be all kinds of sorts. And I'm no special than anyone else. But what I can do to separate me from anyone else is be the best me that I can be, because you can't be me and I can't be you. But I can damn sure be me. And that's what I'm going to be. Yeah. So just know that. I've always believed in leading by example. There's no better way. Yep. So with those mighty words being said, I want to hear from our brother, the Focus Ball.
Get ready to take your striking game to the next level with the Focus Ball. Dramatically improved footwork, timing, head movement, hand-eye coordination, reflex, and overall fight IQ. It's lightweight and extremely portable, so you can train every time, everywhere. When you don't have a coach to do mitt work, get a Focus Ball. When you don't have a heavy bag to hit, get a Focus Ball. When you don't have a sparring partner, get yourself a Focus Ball. And when you just want to have fun punching and kicking, get a Focus Ball. When you train with the Focus Ball, you train your eyes and your brain to read punches so that you can hit and not get hit, making this very simple device a must-have for all combat sports athletes and enthusiasts alike. So if you want to take your striking game to the next level, don't wait. Get the Focus Ball now.
Yeah. So we have come to the end of another one, man. I appreciate everybody that came out, the super chats, the memberships, man, super stickers, and the likes. I appreciate all of you, man. But this is why we do what we do. You know, we try to keep it going. And again, as Shawa said, it could get your blood pressure up. But, you know, understand that what I do comes from a good place. It's not here to get your blood pressure up, but it's to get your energy level up and your mind up to be prepared to deal with what you're associating with when it comes down to this sport of boxing. So I do it the best way that I can. But with that being said, you know, bringing you guys to the end of another evening of a Friday night chop session. We get a chance sometimes to go over things like we did this evening. It's truly a blessing, what we do here. It's a blessing. And just know that I appreciate each and every one of you, man. Each and every one of you. A lot happens when we're here. Sometimes we laugh. Sometimes it make you want to cry. But just let me say, I'll be back. And tune in and check out Clarissa tomorrow night. For those of you who want to check out the guys on ESPN, check them out as well. But I'm going to get on out of here. I want to say peace to you all. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. Enjoy your weekend. And again, we'll see you next week. Peace.
Is this not why you are here?